I don't really know what this meeting, what the structure is, because I've not seen the rules or anything.
Well, this
one...
It just says office hours.
Yeah. It's kind of general. It's whatever we generate together. Hey, Sam, welcome.
Sam. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, nice meeting you again.
Six-fingered monk.
Likewise. How things going for you?
Yes.
Things have been going. What about you? How have things been going?
Not too bad.
Oh,
Not too bad, actually.
He's exploring generative content, so he
very nice.
created an avatar with it.
Oh, God, that's why. Okay, yeah, that's ruined it.
It's a little odd.
Okay.
But
I love it.
Yeah,
Keep your six fingers, Sam. Always, always. It's got a great story to it.
Oh, yeah, 6 fingers.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's right.
Bad.
Well,
Okay.
not necessarily. Grand actually told us Sam told us a story a couple weeks ago about how in India you can have 6 fingers. Like some people have 6 fingers, and
it's a small appendage towards the end. It's a particular community that I don't know for what reasons, but they have a small appendage.
Oh.
It's called a 6 finger, but it's not really a 6 finger.
that?
You can't use
yeah,
it.
it's okay.
Do you know her?
Deirdre came and left.
I do.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah,
Somebody
well,
came and
I'm
left, so we all
here.
saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a
Piece
good
of
luck
the
charm
actor thing.
of sorts. And
Yeah.
if
it's sort of
that's
a
not
good
too
luck
trite.
charm.
eh.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And I love that you're embodying that bridge. I know there's a lot of understandable fear, concern, worry around AI, and also it's everywhere around us. And so the monk and the name and the expression, I think you're in the presence, and you're embodying it
Yeah, I
in
don't
many
know.
ways.
I don't know if it may also
It should not be on
be
blue,
taken
I guess,
in the wrong
'cause I'll
way.
get all sorts of reprobates showing up then. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it also can be mistaken, like what I'm trying to do is because I also use some amount of AI in my work, but that's nothing to do with Unity or any of these things, but I use it for very different reasons.
Yeah.
And the reason I got this whole username, Sam AI, was actually in 2018 when I attended a IBM conference. And they, at that point of time, it was all about, AI playing chess and Go and all of these things. And they gave me a platform to use to just like a sandbox, just to kind of try out. And I entered my initials like Sam, and A is actually my middle name, first initial. So I said A and I, and it just joined it together and made it Sam AI. So it kind of.
Oh my God.
That's how in
Wait.
2018 I got a username Sam.ai. It was
That's
and then-
hilarious.
Yeah,
Wow.
so if you go back on LinkedIn too, I've had the Sam AI
Yeah, interesting.
for a long time. Yeah, much
We
before
had-
AI became
Jose Meta
ubiquitous.
used to be Jose Meta, but Meta killed the username. So, like,
Okay.
they were Jose Meta before Meta was Meta. And then
Okay.
Meta changed their name, and it just destroyed their name for them. So they eventually, I think, have changed it to Jose VR.
Oh,
or
he used
something.
used Meta as a title before Facebook became Meta.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awful. Yeah. Oof.
Another
I'm so sorry
another
for him.
corporate sabotage of a perfectly good word. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I hear your question, and everybody, we can answer this as best as we can ourselves today, which is just, what are we doing here? What is BridgeMakers?
Yeah.
Goat had some common frustration the other day in going, I don't know how BridgeMakers finds its people if I don't understand what BridgeMakers is. And I love that kind of challenging and criticism, and I think we can keep iterating on that together and figuring out, how do we find our people? Is this enough people? Are we good here today? And for me, my answer is always yes. The mix of who is in the circle, who's slightly outside of the circle, who hasn't come in yet is the bridge. This is BridgeMakers today. And so, yeah, I'm curious, just starting out, office hours usually goes for about an hour, and it's really just an open conversation time. You can ask any questions, and we'll all try to answer them together, and we'll follow up with you. I will follow up with you if we don't know the answers right now.
Yeah.
But BridgeMakers is a collaborative, cooperative space for us to find the answers together. The intention is not to like tell everybody the right way, but to co-discover the better way as we find it.
But I thought part of it was that you were able to fix up troll problems, or people who are having problems with trolls, and those sorts of people are the last people who would actually come to BridgeMakers. Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's like it's not doesn't seem to fit.
For a utilitarian explanation of BridgeMakers, I'd say that would fit it pretty well. I mean, AU has a lot of experience with like helping community leaders specifically, deal with
who will actually come and engage with something. Yes.
Whereas, we also
funny enough,
AU,
the other day I talked to someone in an instance I went to, and they're like, "Oh, I've heard of BridgeMakers, but I didn't think I could join it because it's only for community leaders."
Right.
Like I don't have a community.
That's a really common thing too. And, if you go to the website, you can see that it doesn't only emphasize leaders, but we could make our messaging clearer that, leadership starts with self. So it's basically like destigmatizing the word. Like trolls are leaders, technically. They're just leading us to self-destruction and destruction of community, right?
Yeah.
But they build their power off of influencing people to either disconnect or join in the fun at the expense of another. And so we all have these destructive parts inside of us, right? And they express differently. Yeah. Some become the class clown, some become the saboteur, where we appear cooperative on the front end and we're actually like causing chaos and harm underneath. There's all kinds of archetypes or behavioral patterns that make us either harmful or healing or mix of both.
I can be more specific. So I've got a friend who seems to, because he asked me, do I ever meet trolls? And I never meet any trolls at all. Right?
Yeah.
But he seems to have troll problems all the time. And I go, I think he probably brings it on himself in some way. Right. And so here's like a very sort of small example is he met one of my friends and asked to be a friend, because you remember this sort of friendship thing is a thing here. Yeah. You're a friend and you join friends and so forth. And then he didn't respond like 18 hours later, and then defriended him. Right. And then a day later wanted to speak to this guy again. And it was like really cold shouldered, because to most people, defriending is kind of like a conclusive act, As in, you do it if you never want to see the person again. Whereas he sort of does it out of like, oh, just tidy things up a little bit, And trying to get through to him that people don't see it that way. And so you defriend someone, you then see them the next day, it's going to be a bit weird, right?
Internet etiquette.
And, you see? And so that's, exactly. And so that sort of thing, like the sort of manners or something, how do you whether you're
navigate
able
that?
To establish those? Right. And so I can sort of argue it, but that's kind of your department, is it not?
That's what we're doing.
Right?
But
then that person at the last would never come to here and say, "Oh yeah, I've got these very nice people who can teach you all about manners." He ain't coming here, because he doesn't go to any, You see? So that's what I meant.
Here's how it works sometimes. Yeah. So this is live streaming to YouTube right now, right? And so sometimes people come and ask questions, and then they will send.
I don't think he's watching this, I hope.
Yeah. Well, but also we're masked in here.
Where's it being live streamed?
Oh, to YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, but would I be able to find that?
BridgeMakers.org.
Is it on the BridgeMakers webpage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, crikey. Okay.
No.
I didn't expect that to be happening. Okay.
So this is something go ahead.
We have a pretty small audience. I think the nature of streaming is more for like a protection of like, who said what, at who, and it can be really useful for like also just remembering what we covered in these really dense topics that we go over sometimes.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
curious
Anyway, so what other topics do you go?
Sam, Grand,
BridgeMakers.
Axel. Axel, did you fix your thing so you're actually visually in?
So I've only got what is BridgeMakers on the website. Where's the stream?
Oh, it's on the YouTube channel of BridgeMakers. I don't think the website actually streams to YouTube. No.
Okay, there we go. YouTube channel. There we go. Live stream. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
There we are.
Okay.
Wave to the camera.
Oh my God. Oh, wait. Okay. Okay. Copy.
So celebration. Axel, who's on desktop, is actually here embodied, semi-embodied.
Oh.
They can wave and they can move their
something
body.
We like to strive for.
Not having
I see
to
you moving your
move
head back and forth.
their mouse every 2 seconds.
Analog stick.
Axel used to participate.
To do the camera tracking.
Yeah. It's really great. Welcome.
The up and down. He can nod up and down.
I know, your whole body gets into it.
Well, there's some mouse movement, I think, too, yeah.
So, like, you're on desktop, but you're also able to move your body?
Yeah, it's features.
Mostly, it's mostly just like my hands and like my arms and stuff. So, like, I can...
Oh, but like, so you like have some like hardware connected to your hands, but you're still on
it's
desktop?
A webcam.
No, I'm using my webcam.
Oh,
on my
webcam.
laptop. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's weird. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It used to be premium only, and they actually released it to all people.
It used to be a premium only feature, and they made it public. One
of the few things they've actually brought from VRChat Plus to everyone, which, they definitely are trying to add as many VRChat Plus features, so it's worth like subscribing to. Because VRChat needs the money. It's been free for so long.
Yeah, I think that's not it's a huge community.
Yeah, I don't know how they're paying for these servers. It's crazy.
I know. They could threaten to close it down unless we all pay them $1,000. I would. So, that would
man, if everyone had to get a subscription or else VRChat couldn't sustain itself, who would stay? That's an interesting question.
That's doomsday.
That's a thought experiment right there.
Well, given his rec room's just shut down, so it could go away anytime.
Yeah,
it's a huge problem. Yeah, we're always kind of worried, but I feel like they just released a statement. They're like, we just noticed all these VRChat communities going down. We're staying. We're not going anywhere. We're doing good.
Yeah,
that was a nice,
anyway,
healthy statement.
Yes.
Yeah. They probably should say it anyway. I know either way, whether it's true or not.
Meta also said something like that a year ago. So
yes.
Well, that was a year ago.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Eventually,
so we can,
because it's sitting on Unity is also a bit of an issue.
Yeah, we can hope that they're at least open for a few more months because they said forever.
Okay.
That's how businessmen work.
Yeah, right.
Ultimately, it depends on the investors
selling
too.
Themselves.
So I'm sure you must have read that Snap bought some assets from Rec Room. So when they exited, they sold some assets to Snap. Yeah. So there's always that investor push behind how they get their money back because investors have invested in that for quite some time.
What assets are going to be in Rec Room?
Yeah,
that's a good question. So that's not been disclosed yet. So they just kind of.
Oh wow.
We know
you
what
never know what
have.
Snapchat wants to do next too in mixed reality. So they must have found something to buy it because they're smart, pretty smart guys.
Snapchat was like the first all those filters. You could make your face look like full 3D effects. That was pretty mixed reality at the time. But I guess I don't know, it's funny. I haven't heard about a filter in a long time now. It's kind of funny to think about.
Yeah.
Filter is going to be
came up with the spectacles, but they're too big. The mixed reality spectacles are or they're just augmented reality. Sorry, those spectacles are too big, but they seem to be doing well.
The glasses.
The glasses, yeah.
Spectacles. See, I'm not used to that term for glasses.
Sorry. It's just my different terminologies.
I got you. Yeah. That's cool. I know Facebook's new recording glasses. That's a little creepy. I don't know about that. I don't know. Just walking around and it doesn't even have a light on to tell you. It's like I'm recording right now. That's kind of weird.
Yeah. I'm glad that I went to a school that started us out. It was brutal at the time because we were these tender young grad students that had so much hope about healing the world. And I think in one of our first classes, they just sat us all down and said, everything you say in this school could be on a newspaper tomorrow. Proceed with that in mind. Like, to practice your world and your life as if you're going to be quoted tomorrow in a newspaper. And it was petrifying because they were the gatekeepers of, a 6 to 7 year journey. So they were basically saying, hey, in this clinical psychology school, there is no psychological safety. Now learn how to be a psychologist. And we were all like, However,
interesting.
I say I'm thankful because ultimately I started to realize when I'm in the rooms one-on-one with people, etc., that like, I don't ever want to feel like it's just me and them. I want to feel like it's me plus all my advisors, plus all the mentors and the guardians of my life that are present and holding this
like
wisdom with me. Yeah. And so by reframing it as like the walls make us appear to be isolated or secluded or whatever, but we're moving into more and more of a shared consciousness now. And there's a lot of zaps along the way where people have very legitimate fear and worry and concerns about how their information is being used, but it's all being used constantly by everybody, whether we like it or not. So yeah, to go back to the recording and the streaming piece, what I have found in work that has anything to do with emotional fluency, which is my specialty, right? Doing any kind of that work in virtual reality when there isn't a collective witness creates cancel culture, because feelings are how we encode data. They are how we encode the memory of what we've experienced. And a lot of times when we're trying to look at our feelings, we can get spun a bit. We can get turned around, and it's hard to kind of like we're doing two processes at once. One, our brain is just saying, here's who is there, here's what happened, and here was what I did with that room or that moment. And then there's another part of encoding, like, here's how my body felt in this moment as we sat here. Here's the emotions that were conflicting with each other. Maybe I was feeling like some sense of joy and sadness. And what do I remember of both of those emotions later on? Maybe all I remember is the sadness because everybody else was enjoying the moment so much that I encoded the enjoyment. But later I just feel this deep sadness and I can't place it. And then maybe I decide that, oh, it was because Frofredor hurt me at some point, and therefore I'm just carrying the sadness around, and that was a further evidence of the harm that Frofredor did to me. I'm calling Frofredor out because Frofredor is a helper and knows that I role play with him all the time, right? But like those kinds of memories split, basically. This is like a dream state, and it can be really easy to forget when we feel a lot of feelings what happened. So I've had a large degree of misunderstandings accrue from holding these spaces in these places. And I've learned over time that recording and streaming is a way to keep everybody safe, because it allows us all to, if we have some kind of fear of like, oh no, did I say something weird or is that not okay? We can always go back and review it.
Okay.
It's also like the protection thing I lean on because it is a very hard boundary for me. I'm not here if we're not recording and streaming. I have to do this for my own safety and well-being and mental health.
Okay.
But it's also, we're doing something really innovative. Even though it seems ordinary and it seems kind of like we're just sitting in a circle talking, we're practicing presence in a three-dimensional other reality. and there's no destination for that. It's just a practice.
Are there any psychiatrists who conduct their therapy in VR? So, because I've looked them up, and there are people who do it on Zoom calls, but I've not seen any that do in VR.
Yeah,
I would say that doesn't happen, and I'm not doing therapy with people, by the way.
No, not you, but I mean, I've seen that there's a whole business of people doing therapy, and this would work so well.
In VR. Yeah. Well, there's a few reasons
but
why.
But they do it's Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Right?
The number one reason why that they don't do it in VR is because this is not a secured space to do therapy. And therapy itself
legally, yeah.
So you can't I can't protect, even if we weren't recording or streaming, I can't protect what we're saying here. VR chat people could technically be invisible, sitting in on this, recording it, all of that.
Okay, wait. There are platforms like hubs that are secure.
So that barrier can get eliminated, but not VR chat, right?
Yeah.
So
that barrier is there, yeah.
So another reason is the anonymity part and the doing therapy with people across borders. So
but they do it on Zoom calls. Yeah.
And legally, unless something recently has changed, they're not supposed to do it on Zoom calls with anybody outside of their region. So like in the United States, I should only be doing therapy with somebody in California if I'm licensed in California.
Right.
And I should also technically be in California while I'm doing it with you. And so I know quite a few therapists that are now, because of COVID, I think, being much more gray around that. But legally, they're not supposed to be. And then the last thing is risk. So I recently posted on LinkedIn, if anybody wants to look that up, understanding the difference between life coaching and therapy and then clinical psychology. And there's a metaphor on there you can look up. But basically, when you start digging below the soil with people, which is where therapy really gets deep and going, people can have surprising and very intense reactions if you hit a pocket of trauma that they didn't know about, etc. And people can spin into some pretty temporarily volatile or dangerous places sometimes. So doing that in headset can be problematic, because if you were in an office and you hit a place where you were having such an intense response to whatever we discussed, that you were having thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else, you wouldn't get to leave that office until we had made a plan on how you were going to survive that moment. But in here, there's no way to actually kind of guarantee that level of safety for people. And so
or in a Zoom call.
Zoom calls are different because you still have all the nonverbals going on of like how's the person reacting in their body, and in here that's a lot harder. So you can create a lot clearer of an alignment in Zoom than you can or most people. So I would say I can contract pretty well at either place, but
has any therapist looked at this? Because these are all kind of very good theories, but so there's something I can read where a therapist considered it, because there's no doubt a lot of people around here probably could do with a bit of therapy.
They need it.
So there's a lot of business for if you know what I mean. So
there's an organization,
and particularly if they're gamers, this is where they like to be.
Exactly.
So it would. So I was looking around once. And I was surprised that I would just find nothing,
There's an
app
so
if
and
there's
an
something where
organization,
someone's looked at it,
called Inner World. And that is a self-help kind of therapeutic space. Has anybody here ever tried Inner World or heard about it?
Inner World? No, I don't think so.
I think I've heard about it, but I haven't tried it yet.
It's on both Quest and I believe Steam.
Virtual mental health. Okay,
So
Right.
they have probably the most innovative model I've seen
Health, yeah.
that is actually scalable, and they've actually just gotten
Yeah.
some kind of huge
really?
partnership with a really big company that is focused on telehealth. So, yeah, I think they're going to be your front runner for actually bringing mental health into virtual reality. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Kind of like,
this is more like
Worlds.
a self group help transformational soup.
Yeah.
It's a social like playground, or even like a recipe alchemy space for us to understand ourselves better just by being in relationship to each other. But everybody here is responsible for their own human and physical well-being.
All right.
Yeah. And Inner World definitely goes more into engaging with the psychopathology end of things. So they do targeted groups on different psychology symptoms. But I've been talking a lot.
They got a bunch of research. They got a bunch of research people that I could look up.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey.
Yeah, I think there's actually been quite a long history of trying to convey and give therapy like over a long distance. I used to be in a group therapy where the lead therapist, like, he had a story about how he like got arrested because he defied the orders to help a client over the phone when there was some sort of like court order to like put a stop to it. The client really needed the help, at least the way he described it. But it was, and like that person I think had their life saved because of it, but because of like the legal issues of, you know, how do you like deal with these very personal, private situations over technology that could be intercepted, could be recorded, could be exploited. There's so many ways and things that have risk with using technology to do therapy across long distances that it's kind of amazing we even have Zoom as like an option at all for some people. And I would say, and because of COVID, and at my work, they actually do provide a service that does like virtual therapy, but it doesn't use Zoom. It uses their own proprietary like streaming service. Will
I mean, are there actual cases where this sort of communication has been intercepted?
I think it's more a matter of the fact that it could be is sort of like a thing you bring to court and say, it's like, well, if your door was unlocked to a building, even if no one ever broke into it ever, the fact that someone could just straight walk in and take something out, it's sort of like cybersecurity is such a vast topic that sometimes even if something doesn't happen, the fact that someone can prove it's doable and, you know, the fact that it never has happened is still something that could legally get people in trouble and say, liability is the term.
But
so,
I mean, psychiatrist offices can also be raided. So, you know,
it's true, but the fact that
that does actually happen. You see, the police go and raid the psychiatry office and get the records. So, you know, that's sort of.
Well, that's a whole other story where you did everything you could and the law didn't work. So that's a different topic. And
let's pause this conversation to kind of check in with everybody, because part of what BridgeMakers is like it's a collaborative conversation, and I noticed there's so much spark and energy here. I could probably do a 2-hour podcast with everybody on anything. But yeah, how else is everyone? Like, I'm so curious. What's the number one thing that's happening for you as a human being today? Take a breath.
I guess we are the quiet ones.
Yeah, well, that's what can happen really easily, right? When all the energy gets going, and then the other side can start to feel kind of like, now I'm spaced out. I'm not sure what my place is here. I don't know where to jump in. Yeah.
For me personally, I just like to listen in, so I got absorbed into the conversation a bit.
We're in it.
Yeah. We always want to make sure everyone feels like they're able to contribute, and sometimes being quiet is okay because that's just, you know, you feel like, oh, I'm invested in like what they're talking about. Maybe nothing arises inside of you want to express, and that's okay too. we just want to make sure, like, if you have things to say, we're not ignoring you.
Absolutely. And sometimes the conversation is interesting and you're learning new things. So you want to, there's the saying, there's a reason God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So if you learn by listening, and that is the, I guess, if it's something new which you haven't thought about before and it's a new interesting thing, so rather than interrupt, you'd rather listen and learn. At least from my perspective, I gain a lot by listening. But I do feel that I should contribute too, so that the conversation keeps going. All conversations are a give and take. But sometimes I get too absorbed in listening because it's interesting, and I don't really contribute much, and I kind of forget that part of it because it's a two-way communication.
Yeah, that's lovely.
I don't know if that makes sense to you guys.
It does, yeah.
No, I really got it.
Hello.
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 What about you, Axel? Where are you at?
I got past my lovely little writer's block in my scene that I was stuck on for like 4 weeks. So I finally got past that. But now I have found that I have gotten stuck again.
Oh, another block.
but I have the language now. Like the block now is just more of, it's a more complicated version of the situation that was previous that I was trying to get past, and that's just trying to find that language to get past this section. So I have the prior tool, now it's just getting that whole thing going now. So,
and is it okay if I share a little context for people who don't know your? Yeah. So, Axel is a director and writer of live theater. Yeah, and
that's amazing.
Is building your magnum opus for your finishing your master's. Yeah. So has been writing for many months here and getting to watch it acted out in different sections, and has hit some bigger blocks lately. So glad you're here and finding your way through.
Yeah,
what about you?
Curious to see the whole thing played out.
I know, I jumped really fast before we got to just enjoy that you're finding your flow. Sorry. But Jose, how are you doing? What's top of mind or heart for your human today?
Probably the weather. I think it's too sunny for me at the moment.
The deepest of conversations.
Well, Jose and I are.
The weather has been shifting lately.
Oh, has it? Yeah, we're in a similar area, and so when the sun is intense, it's very intense out here. It's not as intense as like maybe other parts of the world. Like we're not in the Sahara Desert, but it's still like very bright here all the time. So
and I'm still worried it might snow here at any point. Probably unlikely, but
my gosh. What's top of mind for your human, Fro?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just chilling. I got home from work. I got a lot of things on my mind, like I always do, but I mean, most of the time I've been trying to wrap my head around the dot model world, and we went on that trip the other day, and I learned even more about how to approach the idea of what it means to even understand it in the first place, and how to even convey it as a teachable method. But then it's also like, is it a method? Is it a thing to learn? Is it a practice? Is it a concept? I find it so like it's explaining things we don't have words for, and that's like the trickiest part. It's so advanced, like ahead of what we as humans can like grasp in certain ways. So there's a very interesting problem solving that my mind's getting fixated on with like, where do we start? How do we approach this? How do we teach people without sounding preachy or like clinical? And how do I make it relatable, but like not too unserious? There's just a million ways this could be done, and I'm just trying to find something that works for me. And I know we've talked about that, and there's still things I haven't gotten around to check out. There was like Nimsy's World you showed me. I was gonna hop to that after this probably and take a look. But
yeah, Sam, that would be good for you to go to if you haven't been to it yet. Did you ever go to Color in Gray, Nimsy's World?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Well, if you have time, take off with Furfridor, because it's an interesting world on a story making. And to bring it into the present, Furfridor is checking in about this random thing called the dot model. Who here is curious or has heard about that or tuned out?
Yeah, I've heard of
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Cool. Context is
What's
important.
the dot stand for?
Deepen,
orient, and transform.
Nice. Look at that. Echo sound.
It's a very, it's interesting as it looks like this really like, oh man, we've mapped like all conflict onto a grid. It feels like you could look at it and you go, oh man, this will like explain everything. It's like answers to the universe kind of.
And does it?
But it's more of a theory, and it's been very hard to disprove in my experience because it keeps being proven right. But that's how theories work in science. You don't propose an idea and then like, I mean, when you form a hypothesis, you want to prove it wrong so that you know it isn't real, but when you keep failing to prove it wrong, that means it holds a pretty strong ground for like being something to work with. But the concept is like a lot of research that Heiyu has done throughout her career, and explaining that when we get into a conflict or there's a group of people and a problem arises, you know, people like lose some sort of like connection, or a relationship is like starting to crack, like there's a problem like forming, you can kind of chart it on a map of like these two axes where you've got a hero, or you've got a victim and a villain, people, you know, someone in that caused the problem and someone who's receiving the problem, and then you've got the hero, someone who wants to try to fix the problem from outside, and a bystander who's freezing and doesn't know how to react. And you can basically take any room of people and kind of put them in one of these elements where, you know, you're experiencing something in this grid, and that grid is kind of fluctuating a bit too, where you might switch places, you might become a victim if you speak up to try to fix something, or maybe you push back at someone, you're a villain, they're a victim, and other people
but it was all about this state of conflict. So question about that is a group either in a state of conflict or not? Is it like a binary thing, or is there a gray scale?
That's an
interesting question.
Axel has some experience with the dot model, and so does Jose. Let's see what other answers there are, or even guesses, even if you've just seen it peripherally. Let's hear from the group creature of this concept. The question is, is a group in a state of conflict or not conflict? Is that a thing?
Is it binary? Or
is it binary?
I mean, do you mean the entire group as a whole? Because a group is made up of
any
individuals?
Relationship, I think, between any group of people.
That's interesting.
In the same way as a group is either online or it's in real life. We're not like mixing it up that much, you know.
Well, that's a binary answer for sure, but conflict, I think, is
mostly binary unless you really stretch things a little bit. But in this case, is conflict and not conflict a fix?
What do you feel about it, Jose?
It's a good question. Not too sure. I mean, I was immersed somewhat in the dot model for a while, but then I kind of just stopped thinking about it. But might be a good time to start looking back into it, I guess.
Okay. What about Axel or Grand? Anyone here?
I'm not sure if the entire group is in conflict, because generally, in my opinion, or the way I see it, there are certain norms that happen before it reaches a conflict stage. So just based on, because I do a little bit of research around, I'm not an expert, but I kind of a student. So I do a little bit of research, and what I have seen is like, given a particular situation between two individuals, the way they act or react kind of sets the tone for the group. And therefore, an entire group may not be in conflict, but people either don't speak up or they leave the group. So I would say it's more individual based rather than a group based. So that's just my perspective.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think, a good point. Since we're always fluctuating, it's I think it's the way that I've been seeing it, looking at the dot model, it's become a very interesting tool that you kind of bring up when it feels like you are noticing a problem, a conflict. A lot of what Heyu's descriptions of trying to explain what it is kind of starts with like a question of like what happens when, you're in a group and someone says something that everyone kind of reacts a little like, oh, what do you mean by that kind of reaction? And that spark, causes like the group to start shifting. It starts moving a bit. The vibe changes. I think that to analyze what is conflict, are we in a conflict right now? I would say generally, if you're having a good time, you're probably not in a conflict. At least if you don't perceive it, it doesn't mean there isn't a conflict. But if you are on the same page with everyone in the group, which is kind of almost impossible for most humans, I would say it probably isn't like an issue. It's very much a liminal space where things are coming in and out of your sphere and your bubble, and maybe something that works with a lot of people intersects your bubble, and it's like, oh, that doesn't feel good. That can be a conflict. But in some cases, maybe it's a minor inconvenience. Other times it might cause a full trigger. I think it's such a gradient, like everything at every moment. It's definitely not binary. It's very much a like 10%, 1%, 50%. That's when it's 50%, that's when you're really having like a real quote unquote conflict. But I think pushing and pulling is kind of natural for humans. Sometimes people like playing with each other and have jokes, or maybe even some people are so comfortable with each other they can throw full insults and it's entirely loving for them, because they're on such like a matching vibe that's how they enjoy each other. I've seen some funny jokes online of people like this, like it's a text message group and it's like, this is how I treat my friend, like the worst insult you've ever seen, but it goes back and forth with like it escalates, and it very much ends with like this whole like you get the sense that they are completely joking with each other, that there is nothing serious and it's very consensual. Or I think conflicts are just so complicated. That's why this dot model can kind of map where things kind of go. And sometimes it's just like there's a middle. Maybe you're going a little around the middle. It's tiny, but when it like goes really far away, that's when you're having two sides that are just not getting involved. And it's about bringing it back in to where you're aware of what's happening. You're deepening, and then you're figuring out where you are by orienting. And transforming is, shifting to make the situation better. Now, better is obviously very subjective, but that's very much, we all want to reduce suffering. So when things are happening, we can only try our best to have empathy. And that, I think what we're doing here, we're all doing really well right now. I don't think anyone is in a terrible panic. At least I hope not. If you are secretly, that's I know it's hard to maybe bring up if you are feeling something like, oh, I feel awful right now, and I'm surrounded by people that don't see me. That's a conflict. But what do we do about it? Is there's so many solutions and so many approaches. It's about what you want to do in the situation, I think, because we can't save people. People might need to step up and say something, but we have to put trust that people will, orient back with us.
Yeah.
I don't know if that explanation made sense.
Well, thank you, Fro.
I think it did, yeah.
I'm curious. My heart and just my body is just so viscerally aware of what's happening in the world right now, and just the macro level conflicts and how that might be touching everybody here, and in different ways. And so I just want to make space and just kind of like even just take some breaths, feeling that truth together if possible. Because this is where conflict turns really bloody and really deadly. And how do we acknowledge that in this very magical reality that we're in? And what does it mean to just hold some level of presence and pain with the rest of the world, and how that's touching even people here right now? So I'm just noticing by saying that it's bringing me deeper into my body, and I'm slowing my thoughts down, and I'm slowing my breath down, and just really wanting to hold for deeper and more real truths if they need to be spoken here. The questions are beautiful, and there's also just life and death happening, and more than ever before connected to all of us. And what does that bring up for you in how it helps you grow, heal, and connect? And I just want to hold a pause here in that question before jumping into our sharing. Like, can we feel our toes? Can we feel our knees? Can we feel our thighs? Can we feel the hairs on the back of our neck, the tips of our elbows? Just noticing the parts of your body that are lighting up right now as we're talking. Just being curious without judgment towards those parts and what they're trying to tell you or us. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts.
And remembering that growth can be growth like a tree that has branches that spring out and have fruits and thoughts and ideas. And growth can also be growth like roots. You don't necessarily see it on the outside, but it takes a long time for roots to get where they need to go. They're always growing. Just letting that energy come deeper into our body, seeing what it feels like to turn it into gravity, turn it into something that's holding us. And so in this question of how do we hold with conflict, how does a group hold with conflict? The answer doesn't have to be logical. It can be a color. It can be a way that, like, I learned to reach down and touch my knee sometimes when I'm noticing conflict in a group. And then one day I found myself touching my knee and I hadn't thought to do it. But it's a really gentle touch. It's the way my mom used to touch and reach out to me, maybe if we were in church or something and she was just trying to get my attention, but very quietly. And so when I see my hand doing that, I'm like, whoa, I want to pay attention. Why did I just reach out and touch my knee like that? Just very like softly kind of rub it a little bit. So yeah, what are your bodies telling you right now? You don't have to have a answer as to why they're telling you, but what do you notice in your bodies? How do we get present with each other and just share this moment? Any observations, colors?
It's hard to go back into my body when my mind is racing with explanations.
I know. And sometimes that can feel like there's these really beautiful patterns. If you look up back there, these almost like, they look like kites that are spinning in the sky and they're flying across.
The gems that come out of the
Yeah,
ocean.
exactly. So this world, in some respects, to me, feels like a sacred brain. It's all the possibilities of all the paths we could run through endlessly. And then we're just here in a moment with this symbol on the ground, both the together pieces and the whole. Just trying to anchor and also noticing how quickly this whole hour flew by. We've been in here an hour already. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. What's it like to notice that?
What are the other events that goes on here? So I've not been.
Good question. Yeah.
We've got a bunch. Yeah, I kind of want to come back to this conversation, but
I know.
We are a group that tries to have more of these events where we take a deep breath and feel our human bodies. So each month we're trying to focus on a different emotion that kind of goes in sort of a spiral pattern through the dot model, and we're on month 3, which is on the emotion of concern. So we have an ongoing thing where once a week we get together and do one of 4 activities where we explore VR chat worlds or watch videos or music that reflect that emotion. That's one activity we like to do. We also have the weekly meetup where we try to hold space for being able to hold deeper emotions for everyone. It's sort of a space where we don't try to solve problems, but allow a place for you to exist where you can express some side of you that might not work to express anywhere else in a social VR gathering situation. And we also have conscious gaming, where we try to think about how our bodies are feeling while we're playing games. So we can do VR chat games, some desktop games. And that's most of what we have currently. But we're open to finding more events that people are interested in doing, like this one where we just try to explain what BridgeMakers is.
We explore it together, yeah. Thank you for.
I think the games are a lot of fun too, because we kind of get into action, like we're trying different things, and I especially like the last game about the I think I forget the name of the game, but it was the Ghost Room. Yeah, that was fun. I thought that was
Ghost Hunt.
Yeah, the Ghost Hunt. I think that was fun.
I forget the exact name. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, the shifting from high adrenaline to like meditative awareness over and over has been really healing for me to practice with all of you, because I often end up becoming the root that feels dragged along and totally unhelpful to the whole process. So being able to slow down and observe together what we're noticing about how we connect, how we conflict, how we leave each other out, and getting to watch gamers really notice that, really see, sometimes for the first time, how quickly we exclude each other. Those aha moments are really helpful for me to see what it looks like to apply this work in action. So, and my heart is just still. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead. I interrupted.
Oh, that's okay. I was just going to say, with the remaining few minutes, and if you need to go, let us know so we can say goodbye to you first. But I just really want to make some extra space here today with what you shared, Grand, and no expectation that you say anything you're not comfortable saying, but I'm just still very aware of the very physical reality conflict you are immersed in that we learned about earlier today and on our Discord. Like, how can we be here with you right now with what you're going through, and what would that look like, even if it's just a deep breath? And I'm affected by what what you are going through. So glad you're here and wanting to just at least make the room, if you do need to share or say anything, to have some group witness of that.
Well, right now, I think it's okay if we keep doing things as we usually do, but I've mostly delegated myself to sitting back and listening in, because that is what I feel is most helpful right now.
Okay. That's an answer. And I just wanted to make that room. And I also want you to know that I want BridgeMakers to be a place where physical reality, violence, and conflict, which is part of your world right now, that can have the most space in this place to just hold space for. Because this is a privilege that we're all in this technology, and nobody can ever assume we can come back tomorrow or next week and be here. You know, there's a lot of barriers, glitches, and miracles that allow us to come and meet in these spaces. But I think you have more barriers to that than we do right now. And so your time is more precious to me, and I believe should be for BridgeMakers too. I'm honored to have you here, and I totally respect that you're here to feel normal maybe with us more than feel super aware of what's going on where you're at. And that's okay. Yeah. So thank you for that boundary. And if you want to switch that or keep sharing, that's welcome here too. Okay. Yeah, good. That felt important for me to say. Mostly what I believe BridgeMakers is it's about finding what real is in every moment that connects us all together. That's the simplest way that I can say it. And sometimes that means looking at how we're leaders, and sometimes that means looking at how we're wounded, and sometimes that means closing our eyes and just feeling our bodies and hearing each other. All the above. And then sometimes we build cool worlds, or we do amazing events. And sometimes, if you ever looked behind the curtains at our helpers habitat and whatever, we have so many different projects that we're chipping away at. But even if somebody starts a project, doesn't mean they're going to finish it. You know, we're always like just taking different pieces that are happening in our lives and seeing how they apply to a collective support, a collective merging of our consciousness, whatever that means to you. So for our office hours, our time is technically officially up. Do we want to do just a closing reflection? What is top of mind or heart for everybody here? And then whoever wants to go explore the world or hang out and chat, I have a few minutes after this. And then also Frofredor is going to be going to another world soon, so you could go to that.
Yeah, whenever I get a moment. It's not a rush, but...
Yeah. So if you had one sentence, and I'll try to follow my own rule by starting it, but if you had one sentence of what you're noticing as you check out, something to offer to this group creature that will never exist again exactly like this, but a thank you to what held us in a circle together to listen and resonate with each other, what would be that acknowledgement, that vulnerability, that, hey, here's how I shifted and grew today? So what is my answer for that? How did I shift or grow today? I slowed my speech down, and I let everybody know that I was doing that on purpose. And I sometimes forget to do that. So it sounds like I turned very judgmental all of a sudden. So that was part of how I grew today, was making sure I was narrating that. Yeah. So what about you, Axel? How did you grow today?
Can you come back to me?
Yeah. Grand. What about you?
What's the question again?
How did you grow today? What is your offering to the closing of this group moment?
I guess it would be gratitude for everyone that shared their thoughts, what they had to say. I suppose that would be my offering.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you. That is what you came for today. So that is what you got. Yay. All right, Sam, how did you grow today?
I guess during the conversation, I also realized that I tend to listen a lot more than contribute. So I guess going forward, I'll make sure that I also contribute. So it's a give and take in any communication. So for me, I think that's something I take away.
Yay. Yeah. That's a great observation. Once you start to realize that the quietness might be rich for you, but it might not be feeding back in, right?
Yes,
then the question is, what is the timing to share, and when do I contribute in a way that resonates us better? Yeah, that's lovely.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Jose, how did you grow today?
I grew by showing up because I think I have never actually been to this event before.
Okay. Yeah, glad you came. And Goat, what about you?
Well, by having a look at another group. I sort of group hop quite a bit, looking around them. Find out what they're doing.
What do you feel like you learned, if anything, today? Did you get any more clarity?
I'm still puzzled. Still, given as all the sorts of experiences I've had trying to relate it to how, because I found the VR chat as a very, very emotional landscape, and seeing all sorts of people I would never encounter normally, and I'm just trying to see where that can be processed, and I'm not quite seeing it here yet, but maybe I'll look a bit further and see if that sort of discovery is processed here or not.
Thanks, Goat. Yeah. That's real. Yeah, it's a tricky thing to work with emotions, right? And learn how to share them together while also not.
Oh no, I can do that. I can do that, but whether there's a group that has the same understanding that I've developed of emotions, see. So that's what I meant. I don't know whether this place has quite developed the same understanding, but I'm going to look and read around it a little bit.
It's always good to put yourself somewhere where you're not in the same wavelength to grow yourself too.
That is true. That is true.
Well, not always, but it's a matter of, if you're only hearing around the same exact type of people, can you grow in that environment?
Oh no, I'm looking for people who are totally different from me, but have the same kind of understanding, because I've come to a number of insights that I was not formally aware of, and I'm just trying to find them out. Yeah, I can tell you more details some other time if you want, but
maybe we'll have a goat event where you will teach us your frame of emotions. You can have a full hour. Yay! What about you?
I'm probably doing about 15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, you'll be the guest at an hour event, and you can talk for 15.
Yeah. Okay.
Stages.
Right.
Fro, what grew you today?
Oh man, I kept thinking about how you were bringing up sort of the worldly conflicts that are happening, and the idea of are we always in a conflict? Is it something that we can be separate from? But it's sort of that realization that maybe there's not really a conflict happening in this group, but you take a step back and you read the news, suddenly there is just constant conflict around the world, which kind of relates to those Buddhist teachings of enlightenment, where once you personally reach enlightenment, you realize the next step is to make everyone else reach enlightenment. And that sort of desire for the universe to all come back together. But it's it's a bit of a difficult journey for that to really transpire. And when we look out, we see all these issues, and you know, part of me is like, oh, sometimes I don't want to think about the rest of the world. It's a conflict that's far away physically. Maybe it doesn't really affect me, but like, oh, you're bringing it up. It's like it's a little total downer, but it's like it's true. You know, it affects us in ways that are like just by being in our conscious presence. It's sort of a reflection of like what's going on inside of us. And I've seen some, you know, you could take a real spiritual explanation and say like, if you abide to like the explanations that like the universe is a mirror that reflects your inside, you know, back at you, back and forth. So if you are seeing conflict in the world, that means there's a conflict inside of you. So that means going inside is important too. So
anyway,
lovely.
I think
like
that's
I've got to go. I will.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I was just
I'll
gonna.
nice seeing you. The Discord and see.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Take care.
It was nice having you.
Would the people remaining like to take a picture together?
Yeah.
Great.
Sure. There's lots of phonogenic spots in this world.
Yeah. We can all just stand here and there's a pretty spot. Shout out to the world creator, which is what is their name? I forget. Vectral.
Never met them.
Yeah. Well, someday you might. Vectral is an interesting being. All right. What's our word for the day? Sure. So I'm going to say 3, 2, 1 and shout out any word that comes to mind. So 3, 2, 1. Conflict.
Contribute.
Gems.
Get your emojis out. Gems, emojis.
Buildings.
Flowers. Oh, lovely. Yay. Jose, I didn't hear your word. What's your word?
Fireworks.
Fireworks. Okay. Yay.
Fireworks.
So a little secret about this world. I'm going to go ahead and turn